Okay, we're back. So, getting help. It is really important in this class that you get help when you need it. Because, some of you are taking this online, and by taking it online, the idea is that there may be things you encounter, and the quicker you can reach out, the quicker you can get help, right? Now, and if you're face to face, if you're walking into the classroom, obviously you're going to get help when you're here, right? And there's going to be things throughout this class that you're going to need help on. That's just kind of the reality. So hopefully you remember me saying this, but again, we're continuing the week 1 classwork, right? So in week 1 classwork, we have a new heading called Getting Help. So if you're working in my IT lab and you have challenges, remember they are your support, and I will provide links in the Blackboard about numbers and locations for how to get help, okay? If you're having challenges with Blackboard, there's actually a Blackboard support. Let me show you this. So it's important to get this as well. In Blackboard, up here at the top, there is a Blackboard Help Center. That's where you get help if you're having challenges with Blackboard, if you're not able to get in any of those things, okay? So, and if you're challenged with getting stuff done in our class, right? So if you're just trying to work on something and something's not working, how do you get help, right? So for everything non-my IT lab related, and I get, even having said that, some of you will still ask me my IT lab questions, and I will attempt to tell you what I've experienced, and if I've experienced what you're having, I'll try to help, okay? But for non-IT lab issues, I'm going to offer 2 ways to get help this year. And I did this over the summer and it worked great, so we're going to do it again. So turning to my screen, I use a Google Hangout. Okay, so what I do is I create a Google Hangout. I am on several Hangouts. Matter of fact, I've already deleted the one I had for the summer. So what this means is that we will have a Hangout that that you can get in. Now, you're not required to get in this Hangout, but I have noticed over 70% of the students that took summer got into my Hangout. And what this means is that you can not just ask me questions if I'm available at that moment. You can ask your fellow students these questions as well on live and immediate. So how do you do this? Okay, in your notes, step 1 is you have to have your Gmail account. Okay, in order to use Google Hangouts, you have to have a Gmail account. Took me a moment there, right? So, and now depending on what kind of device you use, now we can talk about how you, so let me step back, sorry, went too fast. Get your Gmail account. Email me, Ria Waller at Gmail, my course email account, right? Email me saying you'd like to be added to course chat. So once you're in course chat, I'll put a message so that you see that. Now, here's what I've seen challenged a couple of students, so let me just show you. The one thing I recommend doing is installing the Hangout plugin, okay? And we'll start, matter of fact, I'll just go ahead and set it up right here, right? Fall 2015. That'll be the name of the Hangout. Oh, I should have actually done that differently. Actually, what I have to, oh, I'm sorry. That's actually not the way to do that. There's another way to do that. I think you start a new one. But anyway, I'll do that later. I'll set that up. And then when you're in the, if you load, so let me just slow down again. The best way to do this on the browser is actually just to load the Hangout plugin. Okay, and when you do that, it just shows up in here. Now, I have my Gmail set up so I see these as well. Now, the other thing about this is you can, and notice I'm on another Hangout, and let me just show you how many, 133 people are on here. And what I have here is I actually have it muted. So let me show you what that means. So muting means that when people chat with me, if I'm not in a place to talk, I just mute it so that I don't get notifications and I come back later and I do that, right? So that's one way. The other way you can do this is directly on your phone, on your device. Even iPhones, even if you have an iPhone, you can get Google Hangouts on your phone. I have it on my phone, I have it on my watch, I have it everywhere. So if I'm available and know the answer, you will see me answer. But you will also see your fellow students answer. And I've really found this to be effective because I know for me, when I'm running into something, I want to be able to get help so I can move on, right? This class has a lot of work, and there's just no doubt about that. And actually I was going to talk about that in a second, but there are 4 items due per week, right? You may miss something. you may get caught up in something, and we'll talk about late points in the next video, but I want you to know that, you know, my goal is to give you work that I hope does make you more productive, more efficient with technology, open your worldview a little bit, because that's all the things this course is intended to do. But having said that, there are, and if you remember, let's look real quick, if you remember from the syllabus, I've actually put this on here so it could be a point of discussion, is how many items in this total class. There's 65 items in this class, and you can see how the breakdown is, right? So know that if you, this class, I call it really, this class is more of a marathon, right? Some classes are like, you go, you have a lot to do, and then you're waiting. You go, you have a lot to do, and you're waiting, which, by the way, is really the way many classes work. My class is just kind of steady. You should be working on this class as many hours as you need to complete the work, right? So if you're spending so much time that you're not able to get things done, then that means you probably need some additional help. There are tutors on campus. You'll see me provide links to those things. There are ways for you to get help, but you have to make yourself available, okay? Now, also the other thing about this, and I put this in the syllabus, as well as my schedule, right? So my schedule is up here, right? So I am, when I'm on campus, if it's you want, you can actually come into the classroom, right? So let me just blow this up a little bit here, right? So, you know, here are the classes I have here. Here's my office hours. I actually am going to, this semester, also hold some of my office hours in a lab that's in here, because I'm going to be taking a class as well. So we can work that out. So what the key is, and I want you to put this in your notes, is when you need help based on your specific needs, you got to figure out how to get that help. I'm going to give you different ways, right? So the first way I've told you that you can get help is through Google Hangout, right? And again, there'll be several people, I'm guessing, on that from this semester, because I'm teaching 4 sections of this class, 2 face-to-face and 2 online. So I'm suspecting we'll probably end up with about 100 on that chat, which is good, honestly, because that means somebody will probably see your question, because I'm not typically a late night person. That's just not who I am, okay? So going back to here, right? So the other way you get help, right? So in this case, I called it support in our course, right? So I haven't written up the content here, my bad, so I will do that about the chat. But the other way you're gonna do this is I have what's called a shared, oh, I love errors. Don't you love errors? Okay, so let me just tell you what this is. So this is a shared class, and what that means is that all of my classes, all 4 sections, will be, they'll self-enroll, and I'll give you a link to do this, to get into this class, this class, but it's really just a discussion board so that you can ask questions there. And when you, so those are your 2 methods, the chat or the shared discussion board. So in your notes, the ways to get support, chat, discussion board, shared. If you email me, and it's a question that and you really probably know it's something that should be shared in one of those 2 ways, I'm going to say, post it there, and I'll be happy to answer it, okay? And when you post it in the shared discussion board that I'm talking about, that actually would be okay for you to post it there and then email me, because unfortunately, unlike Hangout, I don't get an immediate notification, and I have to actually go in there and find out if there's messages. So if you post it there, you can post it and then email me, and I know it's a pain, but just email me, cut and paste what you posted in there. Okay, so it's not like you have to write an additional message to say, hey, I posted this, can you answer it? So however you do it, get support so that you can be successful, okay, in this class. Okay, let's move back to here. So I've talked about the different ways to get support, getting support either from the campus if you're, because there are tutors there as well. I talked about that, right? We talked about tutors. We talked about the different ways to do that. And I did talk about today that all-important concept of the fact that how many due dates a week there are. And so knowing that that's true, knowing that you have that many a week, really staying focused on stuff. And my goal, even on these 4 items, is to chunk things, though they don't take a huge amount of time. Now, this first classwork is taking about an hour, I suspect, for you to watch it and take notes. And that's about the max I would want an item to take, right? But again, 4 of them, 4 hours, think about that. But each item probably won't take that long as this classwork does. But I want you to just understand, again, if you're not being able to keep up with the work, reach out and make sure you get what you need. Okay, I think that was all I had to say about getting help. We'll start our last video in a second, which will be on late work.